Hello, everyone. So, as we get to the end of the semester, you may find you have more reasons to want to create a Playblast animation to see what your animation does actually look like. I know that we've been into our settings before, and in class we went over how the time slider, we have two different settings to keep everything going at the right speed. You can either tell the playback speed to be 21 frames per second, which means it will always play at 21 frames per second, even if it has to drop some frames, or it will play every frame but not go faster than 24 frames per second, but it does mean it might slow down. Now, either way, whether you're dropping some frames or losing some speed, it is going to change what your animation looks like. Now, this is just a soccer ball rolling across the field, but if you have a character animation, it can start to interfere with things like timing. And so using a Playblast to actually export something is like the way to quickly check how your animation looks, because you're not going to render. For anyone who's taken the animate class, this is kind of like the hitting control enter, only you come up with something that looks like this, where it's still got the grid and it's just taking a screen capture of the animation. So the settings for that are under Windows, Playlast, and there's an options box right there. Time range, if you do time slider, it does only the frames showing currently on the time slider. In the case of mine, it's 160 frames. Start end would do all of the frames that exist on this program on this project, which right now is up to 300. Other options include display size could be from the window, and remember this can change depending on what you're doing with the window, or you can set it to your render settings. So if you have like a real camera in there, it'll take it from the actual camera itself. You'll remember we had the camera gate showing on a few of the render things we did all those many weeks ago. The scale, I can make it half the size of this, 50%, so that it'll be faster to render. Um, Removing temporary files is good because you don't want to build up lots of stuff. And depending on what you're doing, you may not even say save to file, because what'll happen is it'll just pop open the video and then you just click, X out when you're done, because you're just going to make another one. In our case, though, it's more likely that we're going to want to save something. So we click save to file. It asks us what we want to call it. And we will have to browse for where it is going to go. I had to manually put this in here because I didn't have a project set. If you have a project set, it should work. Last up is the formatting. So on my computer, I have QuickTime Pro, so I can do QuickTime files with H.264, which is, I believe, a very small file, or I could do QuickTime with Sorensen 3 Video, which is way archaic or anachronistic. It's super old codec, but it happens to be one I have. I remember in class when we tried this, some people had to switch to AVI and then find an appropriate codec that would work for them. The other third option, which you would really only do if you just needed quick animation to go into another project, is you could say image sequence. But in my case, QuickTimes work, and H.264 works. Now, as it so happens, yeah, mine came up to 30 kilobytes. Thing is, I can't just press play last and then show you how it looks here, because I'm already recording my screen using a screen recorder, and the two interfere with each other, and then it gets all crashy and then the video doesn't work. But I did create this earlier. Come on, there we go. And of course now QuickTime is going to freak out on me because of the screen recorder probably. So let's see if it, oh, how very interesting. This is the same thing that happened before. All right. So screen recorder also is interfering with my ability to play back a video, which is fun. But I promise it works. So I promise, before I had a little video that was, it's so disappointing, that was showing the ball rolling. And what would happen is it doesn't, hello, close, it won't ever, it won't slow down and it won't drop frames. So you'll be able to see exactly what this looks like. without any of those things interfering. Because remember, this is all live still. Maya, I can still move the camera and everything, and Maya's not, it's not a render processing program, so it's at least not in terms of your workspace here. So by doing that screen capture, we can give ourselves something else to work with. So unfortunately, it's going to have to be, take my word for it, it does work, but it'll create a discrete video file that you can watch, and then you can, oh wait, I wonder if it went. Nope, didn't go there. So you'll be able to get a discrete video file to save, to send to a client, to be able to, show people, even put on your demo reel. So rather than rendering, your walk cycles or everything, you just do a play blast. You could even light it kind of nicely, and then that way it saves you on render time.